The Bukit Batok by-election is set to take place on the 7th of May with more than 27,000 residents heading to the polls. President Tony Tan Keng Yam issued the writ of election today, and nomination day will be taking place next Wednesday at Kerming Primary School.
Just 6 months after residents elected David Ong as MP to the single seat of Bukit Batok, the 54-year-old resigned, citing a personal indiscretion. He had won a three-cornered fight with 73% of the vote, beating the Singapore Democratic Party's Sadasivam Veria and independent candidate Samir Salim Neji. On May 7th, Bukit Batok residents will head to the polls again to choose their new MP. So far, the contest looks to be shaping up between the People's Action Party's Murali Pillay and Singapore Democratic Party's Secretary-General Chee Soon Juan. Both men previously contested in the 2015 general election, with Mr. Murali as part of the PAP's Aljunied team and Dr. Chee leading the SDP's Holland Bukit Timah team. And efforts to woo residents in Bukit Batok have kicked into high gear. Now, both men have already begun working the ground. Mr. Murali, who is no stranger to Bukit Batok, having been involved in grassroots work there for many years, has said that if elected, he will focus on helping the elderly and the needy, as Bukit Batok is a mature town. Meanwhile, Dr. Chee has said that his priority will be to ensure the efficient and productive management of the town council. Dr. Chee has said that if elected, the party will pioneer a new model of town council management, where residents are involved in the planning and running of the community. Bukit Batok was carved out as a single-seat ward in the 2015 general election. Previously, it was part of Jurong GRC, anchored by Deputy Prime Minister Tharman Shanmugaratnam. Since Mr. Ong stepped down, Jurong GRC MP Desmond Lee has been taking care of the ward, while his fellow Jurong GRC MP Ang Wei Neng took over Mr. Ong's duties as chairman of Jurong Clementi Town Council.
Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong said that with the budget out of the way, the by-election was called so that Bukit Batok residents can have their own MP as the government works to improve the lives of Singaporeans. Prime Minister Lee is visiting the Middle East right now, but made those comments on his Facebook page. Mr. Lee said that the key to Singapore's success is a partnership between the government and its citizens, and he hopes Bukit Batok residents will elect the candidate who will be concerned for their welfare, represent them ably in Parliament, and make the constituency the best home for them. With a date for the by-election set, here's what to expect in the coming days.
Nomination day has been set for next Wednesday, the 27th of April. On this day, between 11 a.m. and noon, candidates will have to turn up at the nomination place at Kerming Primary School to present their nomination papers to the returning officer. They will also have to pay their election deposit of $13,500. Candidates must also apply for a political donation certificate no later than this Saturday. As soon as nomination closes at noon on the 27th, candidates and political parties can start their campaigns. Campaigning continues till Thursday, 5th of May. Friday, the 6th of May, is cooling off day, when no campaigning is allowed. And finally, polling day is on Saturday, the 7th of May. Registered voters living in the single seat of Bukit Batok can cast their vote from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
The PAP is slated to contest the Bukit Batok by-election says that the party is ready to start campaigning. Mr. Murali Pillay says that he's been meeting up with residents since he was announced as the candidate last month. And he says that their concerns will shape his strategy.
We are heading into a gloomy economic climate. And so some of the concerns are that in the face of a gloomy economic climate, we need to make sure that those who are affected are given adequate help. And this is where I hope to address their needs.
And given that Bukit Batok is a mature estate, Mr. Murali added that he will have plans to help the needy and elderly. He also wants to improve the living environment for residents, and he says more details will be revealed over the next few days. Mr. Murali is likely to face SDP Secretary General Dr. Chee Soon-juan. In a Facebook post, Dr. Chee said that the party has got a mountain to climb and they will climb it. The party says that Dr. Chee will be speaking to the media tomorrow morning. Well, both Mr. Murali and Dr. Chee, they're not new to fighting elections. But one political observer says that contesting in a single-seat ward poses quite a different challenge.
Voters would like to identify, with a candidate rather than a team. Ultimately they want to know who is going to speak up for them, who they can turn to, if they require help, and how will their interests, be represented. So I think in that sense, the qualities that the candidate brings to the table becomes a lot more important. How well, they engage, with the voters, how well they connect with each voter, matters tremendously, because we wouldn't have any consideration of, we can balance, the inadequacies of this candidate, with his other team members as they would in a GRC.
And he also noted that in SMCs, the issue of estate management is especially important to voters who are likely to consider if the candidates are capable of dealing with municipal issues. And of course, the SDP's Dr. Chee Soon-juan has already said that he will make town council management a priority.
Given that the SDP and Dr. Chee have very little experience, with town council management, I think the effort by Dr. Chee, to show that there's a transition team, that he has a 100-day plan, and he will account, for what is done in 100 days, are really attempts to assure voters in Bukit Batok that, he's got a plan and that he can get the job done, and so, they don't have to worry, about this issue of estate management. Because he knows that he's up against formidable opposition in Mr. Murali, because not only is Mr. Murali familiar with the ground, having served for many years as a grassroots leader, as a branch activist in Bukit Batok, but Bukit Batok is part of Jurong Clementi Town Council, so in a way voters have been familiar with the sort of service standards and quality that have been provided, through a PAP council for many years.